Unfortunately, we live in a very toxic environment and a very toxic world at this point. And toxicity plays a significant role because it disrupts the way that DNA replicates within your body. And those disruptions cause the mutations that we've been talking about. And poor nutrition. Much of the time, our body ceases to function normally simply because we don't have all of the nutritional factors or components that we need. Now, I'm going to give you a gentle reminder here. I know we're talking about frankincense essential oil, but I cannot talk about essential oils without talking about this other side, which is nutrition. And so I'm just going to give a quick reminder that when you use products like the Lifelong Vitality, this is why it's so important. This is why you hear me, myself and others say, lifelong vitality is core, it's foundational to your health. It does help to combat free radicals with the alpha CRS. We know that with the Z omega, that is protective of the cells themselves. Vitamins and minerals, antioxidants is how your body rids itself of toxins through the liver. So that becomes foundational, as well as we could have a discussion now about several other essential oils. But these are the basic causes of why the DNA in your body gets damaged. So let's talk about how frankincense can offer protection to that cycle or sequence. One of the values, I'm going to talk about a class of compounds now called monoterpenes, and I'm not going to give any definition as to what a monoterpene is specifically, because I just want to concentrate on why monoterpenes are so valuable. One of the great things about frankincense, Boswellia freriana, that we are producing for you out of the far region of Oman, it has 70% monoterpenes by content. That's important because when a cell becomes damaged and when the DNA becomes damaged, it sends out a signal. It's called the damaged DNA response. And it really is signaling for one of two things to happen: either repair me or eliminate me. And it stimulates a process known as apoptosis. Apoptosis is cellular death. And if a cell can't be repaired, we want it to die. We want the body to be able to eliminate it. Monoterpenes are important because they stimulate apoptosis within the damaged cells themselves. We don't want damaged cells to remain because they have the potential of becoming mutated and cancerous in our body. The other thing that we talked about a little bit earlier was toxicity, and that's a big issue. And one of the ways primarily that we eliminate toxicity from our body is, of course, through the liver. But that takes enzymes, and one of the things that monoterpenes does is it increases the level of liver enzymes that specifically are involved in removing carcinogenic toxins. Also, monoterpenes have been shown to interfere with cholesterol. Now, high cholesterol by itself is a concern for a lot of individuals, but cholesterol, certain things that happen within cholesterol, it participates in the development of tumors within your body. And if we can interfere with the synthesis of cholesterol, we can either slow or reduce potentially tumor formation in the body, and that's exactly what monoterpenes do. Now, there's some other values associated with it too. This is you're looking at a picture of a cancer cell. There's a lot of research talking about essential oils in cancer, specifically frankincense in cancer. It is fast becoming one of the most widely studied essential oils because of its ability, recognized ability to have some interference with the cancer process. This is research, this is just a picture of a cancer cell, but I put it in here so I could talk with you briefly about some research that really started several years ago. It was done first in Puerto Rico, and now it's been repeated at the University of California, Berkeley, where they've demonstrated that frankincense essential oil has the ability to help repair DNA once it's become damaged. Now remember, we talked about your body has this very unique process called the damaged DNA response, and if the DNA cannot be repaired, then we said monoterpenes like we find in frankincense can stimulate cell death. That's important. Even better if we can stimulate repair of the damaged DNA itself. And this research is talking about how frankincense essential oil does that very thing. Even when we look at how a cell replicates, there's a limitation to how many times a cell can replicate within your body, and that's called the Hayflick limit. There's some determining factors associated with that. One, some very similar things that we just talked about in terms of damaging your DNA, high amounts of toxicity, poor nutrition, free radicals, all can impact how effectively and how many times your cell can replicate. But then also a very specialized protein associated with your cells called a telomere. You can see here on the end of this X chromosome, and you see the genetic material inside, you can see what's called a telomere. The more we're exposed to toxicity, the more stressed we become, the shorter that telomere length becomes, and the less the lifespan is associated with our cell. One of the things that's unique about frankincense essential oil is that frankincense has the ability to do two things. One, protect the telomeres themselves so we have proper cellular lifespan. What that means is that we don't age prematurely when we use essential oils like frankincense. The other thing that frankincense has been noted for is it's a great reducer of stress. It's a mood stabilizer. What you're looking at here is an ancient incense burner. The incense would be placed in the top up there in the dish, and underneath a heat source would be provided so that we could liberate the aroma associated with the frankincense resin. That is something that is still done today in modern times. The aroma of frankincense itself can be a very strong and powerful component in stabilizing your mood. It, along with citrus oils, for example, is a great combination or a great way to help be able to do that. And if we look at why mood is so important, major depression is the single greatest cause of disability worldwide. And we can look at a lot of things that would demonstrate that. Here, for example, you're looking at a brain that's depressed versus one that's not depressed, and you can see that there's a lot of subdued behavior. One of the issues associated with depression, of course, is stress. Stress is the most important precipitator of depression, according to Princeton University. I agree with that, and if we could see a visual associated of maybe why stress is such an important precipitator, this is what's referred to on the right-hand side of your screen. You see something that's called the dendritic tree. It's the neurological connections in your brain. That's the easiest way to describe it. And on the left, what you're seeing is under stress, you can see that those greatly reduce and diminish. And as that happens, the likelihood of cognitive dysfunction, of stress and anxiety disorders long-term, and even of depression and other forms of disease like Alzheimer's disease, loose body dementia, all of those factors become a very critical part of that. One of the things that's noted with frankincense essential oil is that it is very effective at enhancing and stabilizing the mood, while at the same time it helps to alleviate anxiety and depression. One of the primary reasons why is because of a unique compound associated with the Boswellia freriana called insensyl acetate. It has actually been studied a great deal for its ability to reduce anxiety and depression. It actually activates the ion channels that are important for mood stability to alleviate anxiety and depression. And it's why people can do something as simple as diffuse frankincense or apply frankincense to the back of their neck or just breathe in the aroma, and they at times can have very significant results associated with that. There was even some study that was done not too long ago looking at patients who had severe brain injuries. And one of the things that was discovered about this compound that we find in frankincense, this insensyl acetate, is that it has the ability to protect and reduce neurological damage, even in patients who have had brain injury for various reasons. Now, inflammation plays a significant role in that whole process too, and the reason why is because whenever you have inflammation that's present, it doesn't matter why it's there, it's going to destroy tissue. We all have periods of time where we have acute inflammation that's present. I have some type of an injury that's occurred, my body needs to heal. It's when we have chronic inflammation that it really becomes problematic. And this is the reason why in medicine it's commonly said that inflammation is the root cause of disease. It's because it's very progressive in nature. It's relentless in its destroying or destruction of tissue throughout the body wherever the inflammation is present. One of the things that's very good about frankincense is that it has been shown now through research to inhibit the production of pro-inflammatory mediators in the body. I see a lot of individuals who have arthritic type pain and damage associated from the inflammation that occurs when we have long-standing arthritis. And frankincense has proved to be very valuable. In fact, to date, there are more than 20 different scientific studies that are specific to arthritic type conditions, and the ability of frankincense to reduce the inflammation as well as improve mobility and reduce pain by as much as 60 to 70%. Even the swelling that's associated with frankincense is greatly diminished in these studies when frankincense was applied topically over the affected area. So frankincense has been very effective for both acute and chronic conditions of health. And we've talked about many ways that you could use frankincense tonight, many different conditions. You know that frankincense can be used on the skin in any way. We know that frankincense can be diffused, or frankincense can be used topically. Use frankincense for any acute or chronic conditions of health. And we've talked about digestive disorders, we've talked about inflammatory disorders, we've talked about cold and flu conditions, we've talked about depression and anxiety disorders, but we've also talked about frankincense in a different concept. And I like this statement, it is a wise man's part rather to avoid sickness than to wish for medicines. In other words, prevention really probably is our absolute best form of health care. I read an article not too long ago that was talking about the different types of medicine that are available. It was in a medical journal, and they were talking about really how we should probably be willing to transition into focusing on and teaching individuals how to work in a model of prevention with their health rather than being in this more reactive state that unfortunately many of us find ourselves in. And so the other thing I want to share with you about frankincense just quickly is that frankincense is a very effective and active model of prevention. One of my favorite ways to use frankincense essential oil, and I recommend this to people on a regular basis, is that I believe frankincense should be used daily. Whether you have some type of a condition that perhaps you're dealing with, or you're trying to avoid and maintain any condition, you're maintaining your health, so you're acting in a model of prevention, frankincense can be very effective and very powerful. My favorite way to use frankincense, and I use it this way every single day, is I put 2 or 3 drops of frankincense under my tongue. I do that every night and every single morning. And the reason why I do is, one, because I feel better when I do, to be honest with you. But secondly, I know that I'm being stabilizing to my body. Frankincense as an essential oil represents a wonderful opportunity for anyone who chooses or would like to use essential oil, and that is that frankincense has a very wide and a very diverse path in terms of the benefits that it brings to you with all aspects of your health. And for this reason, I say that frankincense is not just the king of essential oils, it's an essential oil that we should be willing and excited about using every single day. I love frankincense essential oil. I use it in my own home. I use it in my own family. My invitation to you, if you're not using frankincense, of course, is to begin using frankincense. And be excited about the fact, as you learned tonight, that you're not just receiving frankincense, you're receiving the best, the most potent, the most pure frankincense that's available anywhere in the world. I love doTERRA, and I'm proud to be a part of doTERRA for that reason. I know the commitment that we have to the quality of the essential oils that we produce and make available. I've said this many times. I am oftentimes asked, why do we go to the trouble, why do we go to the lengths that we do to produce the essential oils in the way that we do? Quite frankly, it's because we use the essential oils just like you do. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. I hope to see all of you soon. I hope that your experiences with essential oils are nothing short of remarkable and life-changing. I know that many of you have experienced that already with doTERRA. Happy holidays to each of you, and I'll look forward to visiting with you again in the very near future.